In today's reading of Chicken Soup for the Pet Lover's Soul, we're going to read Seeing. Seeing. Donald E. Wildman once was quoted as saying, "Love is a language which the blind can see and the deaf can hear." Barkley came to me when he was 3 years old from a family who just didn't want him anymore. They had badly neglected the big golden retriever, and he was in ill health. After attending to his physical problems and spending some time bonding with him, I found he had a very sweet temperament. He was intelligent and eager to please. So we went to basic and advanced obedience classes and to a social therapy workshop to learn everything we needed to know for Barkley to become a certified therapy dog. Within a few months, we began our weekly visits to the local medical center. I didn't know what to expect, but we both loved it. After I made sure a patient wanted a visit from Barkley, the dog would walk over to the bed and stand waiting for the person in the bed to reach out to him. People hugged him tight or simply petted him as he stood quietly wagging his tail with what seemed a huge laughing grin on his face. His mellowness made him a favorite with the staff, patients, and even the other volunteers. I dressed Barkley in something different every week. He had costumes appropriate for each holiday. He wore a birthday hat on his birthday, a green bow tie for St. Patrick's Day, and a Zorro costume on Halloween. For Christmas, he sported a Santa hat or reindeer horns. Easter was everybody's favorite. Barkley wore bunny ears and a bunny tail I attached to his back end. Patients were always eager to see what Barkley was wearing this week. About a year after we began visiting, I noticed Barkley was having trouble seeing. He sometimes bumped into things. The vet found he had an eye condition caused in part by his lack of care when he was young. Over the next year, this condition worsened, but Barkley was remarkably good at functioning with his failing eyesight. Even I wasn't aware how bad it had become until one evening when Barkley and I were playing with his ball out in the yard. When I threw the ball to the dog, he had a lot of trouble catching it. He had to use his nose to sniff it out on the ground after he repeatedly failed to catch it in his mouth. The next day, I brought him to the vet, and they told me that surgery was necessary. After 3 surgeries in an attempt to save at least some of his vision, Barkley became totally blind. I was very concerned about how he would adjust to such a terrible handicap, but he acclimated to his blindness rapidly. It seemed that all his other senses sharpened to make up for his loss of sight. Soon he was completely recovered and insisted, by standing at the garage door and blocking my exit, that he wanted to go along with me to the hospital and visit his friends. So we restarted our weekly visits, much to everyone's great joy, especially Barkley's. He maneuvered around the hospital so well it was hard to tell that he was blind. Once, after Barkley became blind, someone asked me if Barkley was a seeing eye dog. I laughed and told them that it was Barkley who needed a seeing eye person. He seemed to develop an uncanny ability to perceive things that were beyond the senses. One day we went into a patient's room, and to my surprise, Barkley went over to the patient's visitor who was sitting in a chair by the bed and nudged her hand with his nose. Barkley never made the first contact like that, and I wondered why he did it now. As I came up to her chair, it was only by the way the woman interacted with Barkley that I realized the truth. I don't know how, but the completely blind Barkley has sensed that this lady was blind too. It was strange, but after Barkley lost his sight, his presence seemed even more precious to the patients he visited. When Barkley received an award for performing over 400 hours of volunteer service, everyone told me it's amazing what a blind dog can do. They didn't understand that Barkley wasn't really blind. He could still see. It's just that now he saw with his heart. This story is from Kath Nair, and it's about a dog who saw with his heart. Chicken Soup for the Pet Lover's Soul.